Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your end of May 2021 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here, your fellow Sagittarian, and are you anticipating in an eager way the lunar eclipse in Sag happening on May 26th? It is at an early degree, it's at 5 degrees, so for some of you this will not form a conjunction with your sun. But it is going to be in your sign, so that to me, and my sign, being a Sag, so that's good enough. And, yeah. Wow. Look at all these pentacles. So money, money, money. So the heart of the matter is the 10 of Pentacles. This is the inheritance card. So it can be some kind of issue involving an inheritance that you're dealing with. This is family money, or family business. So for some Sages, you may be feeling pressure to help out at a family business, or let's say you are rather young and in college, and maybe now it's summertime and your family wants you, or maybe you just graduated from college and you haven't found that first job yet, and your family wants you to kind of put in some time at the restaurant, or there might be some kind of a pressure that you feel, whether it's subtle or otherwise, to follow in their footsteps. And this is one of those things that can be extremely difficult because if you have had a good relationship with them thus far, this could be the thing that kind of forms a rift to some degree, because you may have been going along with the program for years, and now you decided to kind of like declare your independence, and they don't like that because they want you to follow with what they have set out or laid out. And this is one of the things that for anybody, it doesn't matter what sign, but especially for Sag, because if you were a Capricorn sun sign, you might be like, hey, maybe I will go into the family business. And it might not even strike you that that wouldn't be a good idea, because Sages, being a fire sign, really love their individuality. If you were like me, I was just thinking about this the other day for some reason, but I was thinking about how I used to like cradle my paper in my hands when we would even like just draw pictures, because I would see somebody like looking and they're trying to copy what I had drawn, and even like the type of images that I had drawn, because they couldn't think of even what to draw. Some people, really are creatively challenged. They can't even think of like, the type of thing they should draw. And so they're just like kind of stumped. And I didn't want anybody to take my design, even though I was only like very young, like probably in second grade or something, like 8 years old. It's just human nature that we want to have something to ourselves. And the reason that this came up for me with this reading is I'm thinking about people who want to do their own thing, and how hard it is sometimes to get that support from others, because they want you to do what they want you to do. But when you're like holding on to your paper and you want your ideas kept to yourself, It's because you know that there's something very powerful in ideas. Whether it's just an idea to draw a picture of a little girl in front of her house, or if it's some kind of screenplay that you've written and you don't want the plot to be revealed, those kinds of things. And of course, other people may not appreciate it because they're trying to get something from someone else. So that doesn't mean you did anything wrong. If, your parents don't like the fact that you don't want to, or they're offended by the fact that you don't want to do what they've done, you have to let them have those feelings, because sometimes what this brings up for them, or people like that, is that they made the wrong choices, and they may be feeling that, and instead of just really investigating that for themselves and really holding themselves accountable for what they feel and not trying to put it on someone else, they do put it on someone else, and they do kind of point fingers and act like you're supposed to be doing something on their behalf when really you're not. In the past position, we have the King of Cups. This can even be like a father figure who's very sympathetic. Sometimes this can be a boss. But, taking this family situation as an example, you may even have a father who is very kind to you, but there's a condition attached to it. He expects you to follow in his footsteps. And if you say no, then he may wonder what is so wrong or undesirable about what it is that he's all about. And that, is threatening to such a person. But you have to persevere. You cannot allow somebody to manipulate you. The King of Cups is somebody who may have that capacity to really get inside someone and make them feel guilty or uncomfortable in some way because they're not doing what that person wants them to do. And you have to kind of stand your ground so that you're not going to be intimidated or guilted into doing something that you really don't want to do. The first step is admitting that you don't want to do it. If this is an inheritance from your father who has crossed over, it may feel like he's telling you that he loves you, because the King of Cups has a compassionate nature. And so everything, even from the spiritual dimension, everything, even material matters, can feel like the person took great care to make sure that you were taken care of. And that can feel really good. The higher message is the Six of Pentacles. So it can be a situation of somebody who has more means doesn't get as much money. So if this is like a literal, if this is literally about an inheritance, then like for instance with siblings, if there is a will and you're reading this will and there are different amounts, it can kind of be a rift among siblings of like, how come you got all this money? And the person in question who decided these kinds of things may have felt that one of the children was not as capable of the other in attracting wealth or attracting money. And so they were trying to even the playing field. But that can just open up a whole new can of worms, depending on how the other person interprets things. What crosses you is the Page of Wands. This is a card of receiving good news, or even like the beginning stages of something that you have been really wanting to do that has a creative angle to it. And there's just a sense of delay. Now, because of the eclipse that is taking place, and this is actually, the eclipse is occurring several days before the Mercury retrograde. So Page can be connected to messages, and perhaps there is something that is being delayed, and that when, you know, like if this is like an inheritance issue, for instance, the check is in the mail, or there's something with the will that is not quite, maybe it's not the final version of the will, and they're looking for the current version of the will, and feeling this sense of like, what is the real story here? But some of the people feeling a sense of irritation, maybe even you, because you just want to make this happen. It will get sorted out. You know, Mercury's going direct on June 22nd and coming out of its shadow not too long after that. So don't be too impatient, because everything will get taken care of in the end. And then you can do this thing that you want to do. What's coming in is the Queen of Pentacles. You're going to have an experience, and I claim this for myself, of being able to be the queen of your castle. And that means that you're able to enjoy your home to the fullest extent. So this is a card of the gardener. This is the card of maybe even the person working from home. Maybe that's how you have time to do that, to do the gardening, because you're working from home, and you can just start planning things even during your lunch break, or during your little potty breaks. But just if you've been the kind of typical Sag who in recent years have been working a lot, and you really haven't been that much at home, this is about getting reacquainted with that. And maybe for some of you, you're going to be buying a home. If you get an inheritance or help from the family, and it can be very expansive for you. The outcome is the Three of Pentacles. This is a card in general about money being good for you. And so that may be all that Sag needs to hear. Now, again, I mean, even astrologically, you would have expected when Jupiter was in the second house that would have been much more of a time of money being good. But the truth be told, if you're watching this for the sun in Sagittarius, the rising sign and the houses that are comprised of that can give you